What's up, you guys? Ace of Bats here, and today we're going to play a little bit more Dueling Book. So I decided I was going to go ahead and update the old Dark Magician deck for the ban list here. Had to get rid of those Gofus, and thought I'd tweak it a little bit more. I did post my deck profile, so I thought I'd actually get a little bit of field testing here, and I'm working on a couple extra tweaks I wanted to make. Just ordered a couple new cards, like I got some D barriers, haven't gotten those in the mail quite yet, so waiting on those still. Then I might update the deck profile, or who knows, maybe I won't. And then thought about getting another Spellbook Wisdom, so there's that too. But I'm tweaking this as close to my real life build as possible so I can make this as realistic as possible is the whole plan here. I guess what else we need? We wanted to go ahead and do some side decking too, thinking like let's start with Cosmic Cyclones. Wanted to see about adding a Kaiju engine too. That was another thing we were just thinking about. So in the side deck right now, I do have a couple Kaijus, missing a Kaiju Dark Hole, or Interrupted Slumber as they like to call it there. So that was another thing I really wanted to make sure that we put in the deck here. But yeah, the level 7 Kaijus are especially great with Dark Magicians. But worst thing you can do with the Kaiju guys is give them something that, I mean, they all make link material obviously, but give them something that works with them. That's a problematic thing, so I like the level 7. So worst case scenario, if I get stuck on a Kaiju, at least I have something I can work with. And then figured I'd go ahead and try something a little bit different. I wanted to get a Torrential just because, hey, it's a card, it gets rid of stuff. Was thinking about Bottomless for a little while, decided against that though, just because I figured that strikes would probably be a little more useful, a little more interesting at this point, so picked up a couple of those. And what other cards did we want to actually end up adding here? I was thinking about adding a slightly bigger Spellbook engine, because at one point I was thinking about adding the new Prophecy Link Monster too, but I thought, nah, you know what, forget it. I play TCG, let's keep this as TCG as physically possible here. So instead of doing that, I decided to get the I cannot pronounce that magician's name, Alka something or other, Alka-Seltzer Plus Magician, a Kashkik Magician actually. I needed another Itemized too. That's actually kind of my crux card. That's a big part of the deck right here, having another one, but I decided on the Akashkic Magician as the very last card. I was almost going to side it, but you know, seemed like a good idea to side the Magician and main the Timaeus there. So we had all those to go ahead and start off. I think that was a good deck, so figured we'd go ahead and hit the ground running and actually start doing some dueling, so save the deck. And I figured we'd go ahead and find ourselves a room. So we did find a room. Guy by the name of Boruto Uzumaki so I won the rock paper scissors, and I got to go first. So drew my 5 cards here, obviously, and I'm looking at the hand. I'm like, God, this is just urine. The only saving grace I had was that I opened with a trap card that I could actively use, thankfully. Only problem I have with this deck is the consistency, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, Christ, what am I gonna do with these cards over here? I opened up absolute bollocks. Then I'm doing some reading. Remember that this Magician's the one where if you trip a trap card, you can special summon it. I think you do have to resolve it first or something along those lines, but he didn't have, I'm not sure if he had anything to stop me anyway. So I figured I'd go ahead and set up another Illusion Magic, if nothing else, get a couple Dark Magicians for some next turn plays and just hope. So he draws, and you know, Boruto is playing like the craziest thing I'd ever seen. So I see him open with Lights for and stuff, then I see him drop a Fire King in the graveyard. I'm like, Fire King? What the flying F? And there goes the card. I'm sitting there like, okay, Fire King Lights for, and that is like the most interesting thing. I'm telling him, yeah, I can't, I just keep letting him go about his plays, because there's really nothing I can do. I'm expecting to take some damage here. I'm ready for him to like Nervous Swarm the field and make a whole big mess of everything and just roll with it. So puts up Future Fusion. I'm wondering, like, what the hell is he playing where it's Future Fusion? I'm asking about Fire Kings and Fire King Lights for, and it doesn't strike me that it's Infernoids until I think he mentioned it or did something, or I guess he searched a Deviati or something like that. I don't know. It'll come up in a second here. But anyway, he's doing his plays over here. He's got his Fire Formation Tenki and things like that, doing some deck thinning, getting some advantage back over here. So he's got a Fire King in hand, then he's got himself a Riaden there on the field he summons, and that was troublesome, I noticed. Didn't know what to do about that. And then he mills the snow, and I'm like, Criff, snow. What am I going to do about snow? I'm not too worried about it, though, because the Magician of Dark Illusion functions as Dark Magician on the board, so I'm just waiting for him to go swing into that battle phase and start doing some damage here. Now, he's still, and I'm looking at his deck, he's milled through like a quarter of his deck already, and he's making some plays here. So I'm waiting for him to just run on through, and I'm like, oh, this is what this is. It's Infernoids, and we're just having fun in the chat over here. It was a fun guy. I really hope that we get to duel again sometime. He was a nice guy. A lot faster with accepting. I cut out like half an hour of waiting for someone to accept, so we're running around. We're doing that. He's doing his thing. We're talking about the deck. I'm like, this is the coolest, craziest thing I've ever seen. This is why I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there are 10,000 cards and people just don't combine cards like they used to, so I'm glad they're combining cards in a different way there. That's why I don't play a strict Dark Magician list. I don't just ignore the Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician of Chaos and Mahad or nothing like that. It makes it more fun. So he's going for his direct attack, and I'm like, no, I got a trap card. You fell into my trap. You activated my trap, son. So I decide since I don't have a Dark Magician to summon, I'm just going to search for a Dark Magic attack. So I have something to do next turn and a way to get rid of those back row cards there. And he can't really stop the move, so I said, cool. And I was also going to go ahead and activate my Dark Magician of Illusion special effect to go ahead and do a little bit of extra damage. So I think I chained it. I probably wasn't supposed to do that, but he got the gist, and it would have ended up the same anyway. And then I get my Dark Magic attack, which is literally the only thing I could search. I really wish I would have put another Dark Magic attack in there, or maybe 1,000 Knives. I don't know, maybe I'll do that for my real build. I'll take another look at the real build and do something interesting with that, since I think I have the slots. Anyway, so he goes off. He's going to go do his Gamma play right there. And I'm trying to figure out what's he doing there, because he's got the Riaden on the field. I'm like, I didn't kill the Riaden. So I was trying to figure out how he was doing that. Then I think he realized it was an honest mistake. I think he was thinking, oh shoot, yeah, I have the Riaden. I guess I can't do that. So he puts his side frame back, and he puts his Gamma back over there into his hand, and just kind of rolls with it. So realizes that since he had to declare the replay, it wasn't worth attacking into my 2,500 point defense wall. So he just goes to his end phase, and I'm getting ready for a move. He does his mills that he needs to, and then I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and chain. I think he's playing a grass build over here, since it is 60 cards and it's like 6 different engines. So it would have been spectacular if he would have gotten grass off. I don't think I would have won if he got grass off, quite frankly. That's for sure. So I go into the next turn. While he's doing his next turn, I do my thing, and I search for a couple more Magicians over here, because I need something to make this card live. So I get Dark Magician, and I get Dark Magician again. I got the manga version and the new movie version. The Arcana one's pretty cool too, but I feel like everyone's all about those. So we do that. I draw him a card, and it is, yeah, Dark Magic Circle. So we do our thing there. Got a standby phase, and then main phase, he doesn't have any other moves, so I activate my circle. I think it's the first thing I do is I activate the circle there. I put it down just next to the Eternal Soul, so I know what's going on. He's not playing any column play. I'm not worried about it. So I do the little graceful charity BS, because that's what I used to call it, the pot of grace, the graceful duality BS card or something, because it's amazing. And I'm checking his graveyard. I see he's got 7 cards for snow, and I'm like, geez, I guess I better do this right. I better make some waves here. So I'm going for it. I decided I'm gonna go ahead and check those top 3 cards, but it took me a second. I wanted to make sure he couldn't do anything with that snow. I'm pretty sure he couldn't mess with the Eternal Soul. So I let him just go ahead and do whatever he's doing. I wanted to make sure the move was okay. He didn't have a Ghost Ogre or nothing. So I get my 3 cards, and I have a real quick glance at them. Now, looking back at this, since none of them actually said Dark Magician in the card text for the spells, and none of them were Dark Magician as the card, that hindered me a little bit. Looking back at this now, I kind of wish I would have put the Spellbook of Knowledge up top and just set the other two on the bottom there, but it really didn't matter. I was going to do some searching anyway, since I had the other spell there. So I'll put him back. And then I decide I'm going to activate the Eternal Soul special effect. So I don't think he's got any moves for it. I think he lets me go through. Yeah. So I started activating the Eternal Soul, and I special summon my Dark Magician out in attack mode like I'm Yu-Gi-Moto. Pop it in the center, ready to go head to head with Riaden. And before I do anything else, I figured I'd bait any negation cards he's got, just drop a Dark Magic attack before he gets to get those Infernoids in the graveyard, because that's when I'm going to be in big trouble, is if he gets that soul off over there, if he gets that future fusion off, I should say. So, got me out of a little bit of trouble there. And then I decided to go ahead and see if I could pump this up a little bit more. I go straight into the Tamaya's play right there. He doesn't have... I don't think he had any other plays at that point. He couldn't stop the fusion. There's no Solemn on board. I can't think of a hand trap that really stopped Eye of Timaeus, because I hadn't knocked anything out at that point. So, that was convenient. So that went. And then out comes Dark Magician Dragon Knight, and that's like the first time I've ever actually summoned this card in real life. Oh, not in real life, I guess in general. First time I ever summoned the card in general, and I'm just so hyped about it. And he's looking at this card over here. And I decided to target him, his Riaden, with the Banish effect for the Dark Magic Circle. And this guy is just going off the rails. He's like, "What? That's the coolest thing." I think he explains that he just came back to Yu-Gi-Oh! And he's just looking at both of these cards. He's like, "That's insane. That's a lock. So I can't touch any of your magician cards. And because that card's out there, your magicians can't be touched." And he's just looking at that like, "That's insane. How am I supposed to board wipe you if you can't be board wiped?" So, thought that was outstanding actually. And he just loving the hell out of this card over here. He's like, we were talking even earlier. Dark Magician's like my favorite archetype of all time. And this is the coolest thing ever. So thought I'd show off all the good stuff that it could do for him. Like, I think literally after I mentioned that, he's like, "Yeah, I gotta go build another deck right there." That was the coolest thing. Yeah. So, at this point, I think I was just trying to get that Riaden banished over there just so I could go forward the play, but he's just nerding out and he's loving it, you know, and I'm okay with that. I think that's the coolest thing ever. That's part of the fun. I think if this was a real duel, he'd be like, "Dude, let me get at that card." So he thinks I'm knocking it out by battle, and I explained that I was going to banish it with the circle effect right there, since it's called Dark Magician on the field too. It's a technicality, so I get to do a lot more stuff. And I figured I'd take advantage of the technicalities I could. So he banishes the card, and I go to battle phase, knock out 3,000 of his life points. And that was pretty much it. So he's just trying to figure out, I'm telling him, like, "Hey, I mean, you can get over it. I usually just have to knock the bloody thing out, or, you know, you can kaiju over it or whatever, but it's a tough card to out, frankly." And then I wanted to get a little bit more advantage, so I used the card Dark Magic Inheritance, which is excellent as a one-off, so this is a very good time to use it. That's why I keep a relatively high spell count in my Dark Magician deck over here, and this is why, just so I can get the right traps at the right times too. I think I run like a 10 to 14 ratio or something ridiculous like that for the spell and trap cards. So I guess it's like a 5 to 7 ratio. Just a little bit more spells so I can use them a little more often, and a couple more of them that just go away. So I resolved the Inheritance, and I decided to go ahead and just snatch up Magician Navigation, or Magician's GPS. That's what I like to call it. So add that back to the hand there. I figure I'll set that just in case, since I have a Dark Magician in hand. And then I just say, "Hey, that's pretty much my turn." Go to the end phase, see if he's got any moves. Then end it. He's got nothing to chain to the end of the turn, and he's just looking at this deck. He's looking at the deck, and he's just like, nope, I just got nothing for it here. And he's just looking at the cards, trying to figure out an out for it. And I think that's the point. He's looking. I think he took a look at his graveyard. I wanted to take a look at his graveyard to see if he had anything interesting. He didn't have any good monsters he could really snatch back, though, and he hadn't drawn into the Infernoids. So I think he just kind of calls it a game at this point. I wanted to talk him into keep playing, but yeah, it looks like he was just done. He's like, nah, I can't out it. And then, yeah, on that bombshell, we got to enjoy the Dark Magician Dragon Knight. I'm happy about that, and I am happy to sign off. We'll catch you next time we play some Dueling Book.